Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Like and subscribe.
Welcome to the Sit, Walk, Work podcast, a show about paying attention. My name is Dominic and I'm your host, and today is a guided meditation. And what you can expect is that the practice will open up with a brief recap, followed by the actual practice itself. If you find today's episode valuable, please share with your friends and family, and feel free to leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. The show will begin after the following chimes. Like when stuff enters our world, it hits us at the level of I. Why is or me, or how is this impacting me or I? And that's kind of how we absorb a lot of the world and things that happen. But I think as we gain a little wisdom and get some experience under our belt, like we start to broaden that out, right? Like, all right, it starts to expand, and that I becomes a we, and then think of how the things that are coming into our world not only affect us, but they affect the things and the people that we care about. And so our practice was a little bit that way. Like we started very centered and focused on one thing, which was the breath. And then I asked you to make your focus a bit wider and notice how your body and your breath work together. And then a little wider and notice how that made you feel. And then a little wider to notice what happens if I choose to focus on something intentionally. And even wider than that, what happens when I take what I've brought into myself and then share it and give it back? And reckon that all things happen within that space of simply sitting. Good, bad, and indifferent, they're all present. Not done this class before. This is a non-movement practice. So this is a seated guided meditation. So I get the bulk of the talking and the work. You get to listen, absorb, and be with the experience in the moment. With your eyes closed, we send that initial signal that we're going to sit and we're going to kind of be a good witness to the practice and to what's kind of coming up and what's happening within our body and in our mind today. This practice is kind of wedged into a larger concept or idea that we should make time to slow down, to take some of the busyness and the rush out of our day. And the fact that you showed up and you're sitting here right now is your commitment to that. And so honor that as you begin to move into the practice. Maybe the hands start to rest in the lap or on the legs. Can you take a nice breath in? And if you can't, make adjustments to your body so that you can. And can you find some stillness or steadiness to kind of let the fidgeting calm down, to let the muscles relax where they can, to let your breath be steady and soft as it moves in and it moves out. And that's this right here, this idea that we're witnessing is a huge portion of what we're doing in practice. It's all I'm going to ask you to do, is to witness various parts of your experience. And there's a quote I read that came out of the Bhagavad Gita that said, "There is yet another in this body, the witness, the sustainer, and giver of consent, the transcendental enjoyer known as the Supreme Self." This idea that we get to witness ourselves for a moment, witness our breath and our mind and what our body is doing and how it does it. So, in the spirit of witnessing, let's begin to witness what's happening with our breath. Simply letting our attention act as a spotlight and shine on the in and out breath, the flow and the rhythm and movement of that breath. And when we watch the breath, I also want you to loosely notice with your attention how much effort you're putting into observing your breathing. Because it can be easy to slip into trying to make this task one more thing that you're attempting to accomplish today. And if that is slipping in, I ask you to relax that and simply watch the breath come in, feel what it does to your body, watch the breath go out, and then let that cycle begin again. Distractions are a critical part of our practice because they're going to happen. You're going to be pulled away from holding your focus on your breath. You're going to slip into thinking about the stuff that's already happened or the stuff that needs to happen, or even the way little judgments and critiques about the way you're practicing right now. And while those objects are distracting you from the breath, allow yourself to be soft and let those go when when you realize you're focused on them and come back to just watching the breath. When we first start off focusing our attention on one thing in this way, in this case, the breath, you can feel how that kind of contracts and makes the experience of the moment slightly smaller. It doesn't really take away from everything else that's happening. You still feel your body, you still hear sounds, the thoughts still happen, but your attention only allows for you to to focus on that one thing. And so I'd like to widen that a bit. And so now, while feeling the breath come in and go out, I want you to notice your body sensations that kind of overlap with the breath. So feel your belly expanding or your chest rising when you take a breath in. When you breathe out, feel the chest, the chest falling or the belly kind of softening. Give your attention even more space here to start to feel what your body feels like today. So, not just the breath, but also other areas of your body that may be holding tension or tightness. You might feel temperature or texture from your blankets, from where your body is connecting to the surfaces that are supporting it. And it's as if you have a stream of sensations that are riding along with the wave of each and every breath. Noticing that as you observe the breath and you notice the sensations of your body, its weight, its the way that it changes with each breath and each moment, that these combination of factors and even as the mind kind of moves between feeling the body sensations and observing the breath, or occasionally getting lost in thought, we can always redirect it, bring it back on or in a new place. Up until this point in practice, we've just received what was there. We can be intentional and start to bring in certain aspects into our practice. So as you're kind of observing the breath and sitting with the body, I want you to begin to think of elements from today or this week or recently that brought you joy or happiness or gratitude. And you can use anything that fit the criteria I described or at any point in time in your life. And you kind of allow your mind to focus on that. Let your attention rest with that. But just light enough so that you can also still witness your breath and still feel your body as the memories begin to bubble up to the surface. Maybe it was a good conversation with a friend that you care about, or time you spent with someone you love, or practice you deeply cherished that you took. Doesn't matter the size of the activity. It only needs to be of joy to you. And if you hold your attention just wide enough that it has the thought or the memory present, but you can feel in your body where that joy might reside, or the type of sensation that it is. Or maybe it presents itself with a certain color or shape, but that this joy is inherently within you, kind of lying dormant, waiting for the spotlight of attention to come around and notice it. And it's as if you could take this feeling of joy, this feeling of gratitude that you're focused on, and begin to kind of let it build up and become concentrated, maybe at the center of your heart. Maybe it could begin to kind of present itself as a shape or a color that just begins to kind of glow, right? With this energy that you are bringing to life with your attention. And each breath is putting a little more joy in that sphere, a little more energy in that color, a little more brightness. Feel good to kind of sit here and let ourselves be with this internal well of joy that we have, and gratitude and support and love that's kind of just residing within. And that is plenty. Or you can even expand this practice slightly further, imagining someone or something that you care deeply about. And as you bring that being to mind, as you bring that being to mind, what would it be like to offer this gift of joy and gratitude that you've kind of focused on and allowed to grow within you, to offer that, to wish and want that for them, to want them to have a rich experience of the goodness that life has to offer. And with each exhale breath, you can imagine that energy flowing out of you and into them. This visualization and process of bringing in loving energy and then allowing it to flow back out towards other beings that you care about is also a metaphor in some ways, that there's enough space within love for you to fill your cup up and to allow it to overflow beyond you. Sending a wish for them to be safe and protected, to be filled with happiness and joy, to know and be at peace, and to live with kindness and ease. At which point you can then softly Let the visualization begin to reside, to dissolve, to soften your attention completely. And allow your attention to relax and to simply sit in this space and observe the moment as it changes. Even when we are simply sitting and allowing ourselves to be in this space, while the body isn't moving, movement is present. Reminder that underneath anything that appears to be still, that there is a subtle bit of movement taking place, that there's an energy being transferred. And it's from this movement that we experience that we're reminded that there is space for everything to unfold and happen within our practice. When you're ready, eyes as we start practice, flow rushes back in. Can be a little harder to keep our focus once everything kind of comes back in, but just kind of notice what you notice.
That's the beauty of it.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. I invite you to check out my Substack, where we are building a community of like-minded individuals to discuss all topics related to the idea of paying attention. I hope to see you there. But until then, with metta may you be well.
Like and subscribe.